So I've had this tiny perfect handle screwdriver sitting around in the shop for quite a while. I think I picked it up at a local flea market, if I remember correctly. I think I paid under $5 for it, if I also remember correctly. But I always just really liked it. I liked the size of it. It's kind of a neat little thing. The blade on it is actually in really good condition. It's pretty square still, sharp, but as you can see, it is bent. It is a tiny thing, right? Overall, it is under 5 inches, maybe just under. These handles on here, they're cracked here. They're swollen, they're pretty chipped up. So I think I might actually try making some new ones out of this apple wood offcuts. I had cut up some of this that had sitting around for forever for some buddies for some axe wedges, but it's really hard stuff. So I think it'll make some nice handle scales for this. I've never done a perfect handle screwdriver cleanup restoration or anything like that, so it'll be interesting for sure. I think it'll be pretty straightforward. It's basically going to be bending this straight, taking these handles off, these scales off, and putting some new ones in. I know in watching some videos of the other guys, it's tricky because these are beveled right here. My fat fingers aren't too precise here, so I'll point a little bit. So like these parts right here are beveled, right? So these parts are beveled in, so that's going to be a lot of fitting, I guess. But I suppose that's probably not going to be too dissimilar to, hanging an axe where you're putting the wood against the metal, seeing where it's contacting, and then taking some away. So I think first things first, we'll start with trying to get this straightened out, because I don't think that's original. If you're curious what knife I'm usually carrying, it's the Benchmade Valet. It's dirty because it's my everyday carry pocket knife, but I do like it. It's time for a sharpening, but that's not in this video. Now we're focusing on this little guy. Alright, let's get this in the vise and see if we can bend it straight. Well, it looks like the bend is about right here. It would be really nice if I had that, that swivel jaw set up, but it is still in the process of being cleaned up. It's actually completely taken apart and soaking in some simple green right now. So, if you want to see that swivel jaw vise restoration, stay tuned. But I'm just going to try to kind of manhandle this straight a little bit. It bent, but I didn't like how it felt. It almost felt like things do before they break. Well, I suppose if it breaks, it breaks. It was only a couple dollars, but I would like to prevent it from breaking. I don't feel any cracks, so just keep going for it. Definitely having to put some force behind it. I'm not exactly a small guy, as you guys know, and I'm leaning into it pretty good. That looks like it's pretty straight that way, but now we are off to the side that way. So let's see if we can bend that straight just a little bit more. I don't know if you guys know more about these. You know if they're tempered at all? Let me know. I don't plan on trying to retemper this at all. Just clean it up. So honestly, I think that's pretty straight. I think the unevenness that I see is actually just in the grind of the blade here. So maybe we'll even that out a little bit as we clean this up a little bit. We'll see. I'm going to take it to the wire wheel now and just try to clean up that little bit of surface rust that's on there. One nice thing about this vise here is it does have smooth jaws, so definitely mars up things a lot less than a checkered tooth jaw or a knurled jaw. Not getting a good enough grip. I need to make myself a set of soft jaws. Glad I'm wearing safety glasses. Well, that's not doing what I want it to. That's just painting it over more. There we go. Alright, so we're just going to clean it up just a little bit more. We've got some 400 grit sandpaper. We're just going to kind of give it a clean scratch pattern, I guess. Alright, so we've got our screwdriver handle cleaned up enough. I might bend that just a little touch more back that way too. It looks like it's off just a tiny bit, but either way, we can start making the handles now. This is some apple that I actually cut down at my parents' house years and years ago. It's been sitting in my garage ever since. It's from an old apple tree that I was in back in their woods and overgrown back from when it was some farmland, probably, 60 years ago. So kind of neat being able to repurpose something like that. Alright, so I'm going to take this out and go try to carefully cut it out on the bandsaw without losing fingers. I'm not going to film this part. Alright, so I've got two little scales cut up here. They're a little thicker than I'm going to need, I think. That one might actually be about a little too thin. Either way, I've got more wood if I need to cut more. But we're going to try it with these. There is some signs of woodworm in here, but I think most of that's going to come out when we sand it. If not, maybe it'll give it some character. We'll see. Either way, we're going to roll with it. So, next is seeing if we can get this to fit in there. I saw some other guys do it where they literally just take this and then start pressing it in a vise, and the indentations of the screwdriver pressing against the wood kind of give you some witness marks as to where to start filing. So maybe I'll try that. Okay, so we got a couple little dimples that we can work with. Essentially doing it like knife scales. The problem with that is these don't fit perfectly flat because this is recessed. So I know there's probably going to be some little gaps and stuff like that. It's for me, so it doesn't really matter. But I am going to mix up the epoxy when I glue them on with some sawdust to hopefully fill some of those gaps. And that's basically where I'm at now. I've got 2 copper pins clipped from my rivets that I usually use for my axe masks and other leather work. They look to be about the perfect length here, so we're going to roll with that. Now, because I've made this mistake before, I'm going to mix up considerably more than I think I need. So that way when it turns out to not be enough, I can at least say I tried. This epoxy does not smell great. It smells a bit like burnt hair. I was expecting this to be a mess. It is. But it's also a little bit more messy than I was expecting too. Alright, so our epoxy has cured enough, I believe. It's still slightly soft, but I think that's just kind of the nature of this epoxy. I don't think it's going to dry rock hard. It's almost got a little bit of give or plasticity to it. So I'm okay with that. So now basically what I'm going to do is just clamp this in the vise and start shaping this down with the files. Alright, so we've got it all sanded up. I've gone up to 400 grit on the wood here and the metal. After this, I do plan on bluing it, just because I'm not a big fan of the shiny silver metal. It's alright, it's just not my thing. So I like to look a little older and darker. Before I do that, I'm going to burnish the wood here, the apple wood. Like I said, I'm not super happy with the gaps around where the handle scale meets the screwdriver, but there's not much I can do about it now. I'm hoping that when I blue it, it looks a little less noticeable with that kind of dark gap. We'll see. I might sand a little bit more in front here. Actually, maybe just trying to the little pick that I made, or all that I made in the one short here. If you're curious about it, it's actually just a broken off. I had a broken round file that I had rehardened the tang on, and I had a piece of copper piping tubing, 3/8 OD, that I just kind of annealed and then necked down so it gripped this nicely. And I filled the whole thing with solder. So it's really nice and heavy. It feels like almost like an expensive pen, but with this being hardened, it's I kind of hardened into like a spring temper, kind of like a bluey purple. You can kind of use it to scratch and pick and kind of clean up areas, which is pretty handy. And it's working pretty well, actually. Kind of clean up that glue line a little. Because I sharpened it, just kind of crudely with my one diamond file, or diamond stone, it's got like square edges on it, so you can use it to kind of scrape too, which is pretty handy. Yeah, this is actually coming off pretty good. I'll just get a little cotton swab here. Have at it. I don't think the bluing would change the color of the wood, but we'll find out. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let it sit for a minute or two, and we'll wipe off the excess and give it. Alright, I don't think it came out bad. Still got to throw some oil on the handle here, but the bluing definitely did what I wanted it to, with kind of blending in those darker spots around the handle scales. Yeah, let's throw some oil on it. It's a couple drops of boiled linseed oil to help make that apple come to life. Nice. I like it. That apple, it definitely got some dirt embedded in it in the end grain, but a lot of that dark color is coming from it being spalted. So I think it gives it that the screwdriver kind of a older vintage feel still, which I think is cool. I like it. I'm happier with how it came out. It's not perfect by any means, but I learned a lot from it, so that's always a plus. Yeah, it's a fun little project. And now I've got another useful tiny little screwdriver. So we're all done now. What are the things that I would do differently? I would probably, if I were to do another one of these, I would probably focus more prep on the handle, well, the screwdriver body itself. I don't think a lot of my shortcomings here were really with the wood scales so much as it was the surface they were mating to. I think the main issue, yeah, is the surface that they're mating to. So I would have taken more time to kind of even out the little pointer here. There we go. So I've taken more time to even out kind of the transitions here, kind of transition at the end. I would take more time to sand those and make them smoother, so that way the wood scale met up to a cleaner edge. Because I think the edge of the wood scale was fine. For the most part, I probably could have gotten a little better fit in there. But again, I think it's because it didn't meet the body of that screwdriver very well. Yeah, other than that, I might use a piece of wood that I know doesn't have any wormholes in it. I thought the wormholes were going to give it kind of character. It did, but it also was kind of challenging to work around. I do like the color that that apple wood took on after being oiled. I like the bluing. The only other thing I might have done too is this. The blade on this seems a bit soft. Doesn't really matter, but if I were to do it again, I might harden it and then retemper it. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think it'll be a good little screwdriver for using in the shopper. I like using, even with it being bent, I like using this size for helping put the screws in the back of my the stud closures on the axe sheaths. So this will ride on the little back of the bench in the screwdriver holder, and I'll probably keep using it for that. But yeah, I like the bluing. The bluing definitely took it up for a notch from the previous polished-y, shiny-ish. Yeah, so I think it helped hide a lot of the issues with it. So there you go. Nice, tiny little perfect handle screwdriver. I don't know if I ever measured it. Did I measure it? I probably did at the beginning. If not, we'll grab it now. So it looks like it's right at just under 5 inches. So, pretty cool. Another video. Yeah, I like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would have done differently. Kind of on the same board as what I would have done differently, or would you have just left it alone from the start? That's also a possibility. maybe I took the value of this and completely ruined it, but I think straightening it out was at least the right call. I do like the look of the copper pins too. Those came out good, I think. So, yep, little tiny perfect handled screwdriver. There you go. That'll be a good shot for the thumbnail. All right, take care, everyone. Appreciate it. More fun stuff to come.